Live? We're on. Okay, so today, let's take a look at, first of all, objectives. We want to be able to find angles from the unit circle, because that's all about the unit circle. Got this unit circle. There we go. All right, so let me just flip this over. Here's my unit circle, right? These are the angles. Okay, everybody watch. 30 degrees. These are our answers. This is what we want today. We want an answer of 30 degrees. We want an answer. Our answer is going to be 60 degrees, or our answer is going to be 90. Or maybe our answer is going to be pi 6, depending on whether we want radians or degrees, right? Maybe our answer is pi half. So our answer maybe is 7 pi 6, okay? Those are the answers. So we say blah, blah, blah. How do we get the answers? Well, we get our clues from our numbers on the outside, okay? So if we have a 1/2 value, it goes with 30 degrees, right? If I have a square root of 2 over 2, it goes with a pi 4. If I have a negative square root of 3 over 2, it goes with 150 degrees. See how this works? So what we're doing is we want to find our angles, that's our answers, and it comes from these. Well, these come from, for instance, that's cosine. I know it doesn't say cosine, but we know cosine is the x value. So that's a cosine. That's a sine. And these are my tangents, okay? So let's take a look, first of all, at our notes, okay? So from the unit circle, find the following. So one of the things we want to add in here is we always take the angle closest to 0 degrees, okay? All right, here's how it works. Actually, not that hard. It really isn't. So example 1, sine of theta equals 1/2. So for sure, we're trying to find theta, okay? So we need to find the angle. Theta equals what? Okay, we're looking for the angle. Yes, Ellie? Yes, you're way ahead of me. I like that. Yeah, you should be teaching. Nice job. Exactly. So, and I'm going to say that, Ellie. Thank you. Sine is the y value. So we're looking for a y value of 1/2. So I look at my circle, and it actually happens in two places. I got a 1/2 here at 30 degrees, and I have a 1/2 here at 50. You can't have two answers. So obviously it's got to be 30 because that's the one closest to 0. Does that make sense, everybody? So the answer is 30 degrees. So theta would be 30 degrees. Or if it's in radians, or it could be pi 6. Okay, both these answers are correct. Just depends on how we word the question. I usually like to start with degrees first because you're more familiar with degrees, right? So 30 degrees is my answer. Not 150 because it's much further away from 0, okay? All right, cosine, same thing. We want to find an angle. We want to find theta. But to find it, we're going to look for cosine, which is the x value, right? So we're going to find an x value square root of 3 over 2. So I look at my unit circle. X value square root of 3 over 2 is here. And it's also here, okay? Now, 330 degrees, all the way around the circle. I mean, I always tell kids that if you were running a race, or if you had to run, and you had to get there as quickly as you could, I mean, 330 degrees, yeah, okay, no problem. But would you really want to run all the way around the track, or could you just go here? Obviously, you could just go here. Which one's closest to 0? It's the 30 degrees, right? So, x value, cosine, my answer is 30 degrees again. Okay, so in this case, theta equals 30 degrees, or pi 6, okay? How am I doing? Seem easy so far? Cosine of negative 1/2. Again, tangent, I said it wrong. Tangent theta equals 1. So tangent, those are my answers on the outside, right? Happens in two places. Here at 45 degrees, or it happens here at 5 pi 4. Well, obviously 45 degrees is a lot closer to 0 than going all the way around. Okay, so the answer has to be 45 degrees. So tangent of theta equals 1, that means theta's got to be 45 degrees, or the radian equivalent pi force. These are both the same angle. It depends on the question. Am I asking the question in radians or degrees? I didn't say in this case because I wanted to look at both. Okay, sine of 1. I'm looking for a y value, right? Y value of 1. So if I look at my unit circle, a y value of 1 is right there. It's the only place, right? Because it's the y value of 1, so it's going to be 90 degrees. Am I doing okay? Am I making sense? Thank you, Abby. Okay, so in this case, the angle I'm looking for is 90 degrees, or it's going to be pi halves. Both the same angle. One's in terms of radians, and one's in terms of degrees, okay? Cosine, negative 1/2, okay? Negative 1/2 for an x value is here, or it's here. Nope, I'm wrong. Here or here? Nope, I was right. Here or here. There we go. Okay, so it's either at 120 degrees or 240, but which one's closer to 0? Obviously 120, okay? It's not that hard, right? So cosine's the x value, negative 1/2. X value is here at 120 degrees. 240 is too far away, so we're going to say theta equals 120 degrees, or in radians, it's the same thing as 2 pi thirds, okay? Okay, example 6. Sine theta equals 2. This is a trick question. What is wrong? Tell me what's wrong with this. What's wrong with this question? Anybody? What's wrong? This is a trick question. What's wrong with this question? Let's look at the unit circle. Yes, Ellie?
The unit only goes up to 1.
Only 1 because it's a unit circle. Nice job, Ellie! So it's got to be impossible, so we just say undefined. In fact, even if we tried it on our calculator, we go sine inverse, right, of 2. Same thing, it's going to give me a linear error. You can't, because our circle has a radius of 1, correct? It does not have a, radius of 2. Nice job, Smarty. There you go. So undefined. Now, this one's a good one. I want to circle this one, okay? And before I do this one, I want to go ahead and explain that on the unit circle, okay, I want you to watch. If you had to take a journey all the way around here, and you had to get to this spot on the track, you wouldn't do that. Wouldn't you just run backwards? Does that make sense? Maybe you sit here and I say, okay, everybody meet me right here at the track, okay? This is like the high jump pit, okay? Everybody meet me at the high jump pit. Most kids would say, okay, Mr. Davies, I'll just run right here, right? You wouldn't go all the way around, correct? That makes sense. But to do that, it becomes a negative angle. So here's what I'll have you do. On your unit circle, let's put this. This is the same as negative pi 6. This is the same thing as a negative pi force. This angle is negative pi thirds, and this angle is negative pi halves, okay? So if I go backwards, or negative 30 degrees, or negative 45 degrees, or negative 60 degrees, or negative 90 degrees, okay? So if I go backwards, I'm just going to get those angles, okay? I don't know if you need those on your inner circle, but I know a lot of kids appreciate that on their circle, right? Because it just gives us an easier answer, okay? So let's take a look at this next example. Sine, so I'm looking for a y value, right? A y value of negative 1/2. So negative 1/2 for y value is here, okay? It is also here, okay? So it's going to be at 330 degrees or 210 degrees. Or what's the fastest way to get here? Is just go backwards, right? Negative 30 degrees would be the answer I want. In fact, it is negative 30 degrees. It's always the angle closest. Okay, so theta will equal negative 30 degrees, or a negative pi 6, because you can take radians as well as degrees, okay? Tangent, negative square root of 3 over 2. That is not correct. Negative square root of 3 over 3. Change that to negative square root of 3 over 3, and just accept the fact that I make mistakes, okay? So negative square root of 3 over 3. It's here for tangent. It's also way over here for tangent, right? But we want the ones closest. Well, I'm not going to go around here. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go all the way around here. I'm just going to go the shortest distance, which is straight down to it again, negative 30 degrees. Okay, so theta, negative 30 degrees, or in radians, negative pi 6. Okay. Now, calculator in radians. We don't have a calculator because Mr. Stubbs has them, but we've got our phones. So if you do it in radians, we've talked about this before, you've got to go ahead and change your mode to radians, right? And I'm going to go sine inverse of 0.56. But the first thing I got to make sure is I've got to change my mode in my calculator. Change my mode to radians, right? I've got to do that first. So I've changed my mode. In my phone, there's a way to change it. Also, in your phone, come on, turn for your calculator. Come on, turn. Why doesn't it like to? Oh, there we go. So for my phone, I've got this button down here. See the rad? So I push that. I'm in radians. It popped up to radians. So if I needed sine inverse of 0.56, I'd go 0.56 second and then sine, and there's my answer. And that is an angle. That is an angle in radians. About 0.594 is an angle. It really is. So theta is about 0.594 blah blah blah. Okay. And or on my fancy calculator, which I like, I'd go. I've got it in radian modes. Quit. I go sine inverse of my 0.56, and I get the same answer, right? And that's an angle. It doesn't look like an angle, but it really is an angle in terms of radius. I mean, it's an angle. Think about this angle. This angle right here, pi, that's an angle, is 3.14, right? That's 3.14. That's an angle. So 0.56 is an angle over here somewhere maybe. Okay, now, tangent inverse, okay, of 0.45. Same thing. You're just going to use your calculator or your phone. I'm going to go tangent inverse of negative 0.45 and tan inverse, tan inverse of negative 0.45, and I get an angle, negative point, so theta equals a negative 0.4228, blah, blah, blah. That's an angle. That's weird, but it's a negative angle. So it's, negative going this direction, right? So it's a negative angle somewhere around here. It really is. I know that this is about 1.7. No, 1.57. This is about 1.57 as far as decimals. So it's around here somewhere, okay? Now, next example. All right, Ellie, tell me, once again, what's wrong with this problem? Yeah, the radius is 1. I mean, if cosine's the x value, think about this. If cosine's the x value, I can get to 1. Right, I can get to 1, but I can't get to 1.3. 1.3 is off the circle. There's no angle at 1.3. You guys see how that works? So this one's got to be undefined. It says over, but we're not going to do these. We don't need to do these just because of time. Okay? So pretty easy. Now the homework I have is a worksheet. Okay? And I keep getting enough time to get a lot of it done. Alright, so 1 through 4, you just have to find the angle using, it's triangles. But on the 5 through 8, I want you to use the unit circle. It says given it in terms of pi. So for my unit circle, as far as answers, I want like pi 6. I want pi halves. I want an answer of 5 pi 6. So we understand that? That's the answers I want on this second part. I want you to use your unit circle. Okay? Thumbs up, everybody? Good. And I'll help you, okay? Go ahead and stop